In the Quran, chapter 15, verse 26, Allah says, "Indeed, we created man from sounding clay, molded from black mud." And the verse after that, verse 27, says, "As for the jinn, we created them earlier from smokeless fire." I would like to discuss these two verses because they are scientifically incorrect.
La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. This Jezebel doesn't even understand what those verses are saying.
You can form your own opinion afterwards, however, what I'm about to present is facts.
Facts regarding what? Regarding a topic that you clearly can't comprehend? Oh my goodness, man.
Starting with Dr. Ashley King, who is a planetary scientist for the Natural History Museum. She explains that stars that go supernova, meaning they explode powerfully, are responsible for creating many of the elements of the periodic table, including those that make up the human body. The human body is made up of primarily nitrogen, hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen, which are elements that come from the stars.
As I said, she completely missed the ball. Quran is mentioning what we are made out of. It is not saying the origin of those substances of where they are from.
You stupid.
It's so crazy that these people, can you tie your own shoes or you still need your mom to do that for you? Let me give you an analogy. A brick is made from clay, but those clays, the atoms that makes up the clay, ultimately comes from ancient stars. It is perfectly correct to say this brick is made from clay, but the origin of the atoms that makes up that clay comes from the stars. You're arguing a point the Quran never makes. Where is your...
According to Allah, humans were created from clay. So I googled, what elements are clay made of? Clay is primarily made of aluminum, silicone, and oxygen atoms organized in layered structures.
This dumbass doesn't even know there is 30 plus different kinds of clays. Not all of them are made of the same thing. It's crazy that you ask specific questions from Google instead of actually asking them what Allah is talking about in here. So since we're on that, let me completely demolish your stupid argument. How many of the materials that a human body is made of is found in clays? The human body shares its fundamental materials and elemental building blocks with clays.
That doesn't sound like nitrogen, hydrogen, or carbon, does it? Which means humans are actually made of stardust, not clay.
Yes, clays are fundamentally made of stardust.
And scientifically, that Quran verse is incorrect.
No, it's not. It's 100% correct. The only problem here happens to be is your cognition is the problem. You clearly don't understand, and most likely half of your brain doesn't even function.
Now I want to talk about verse 27, in which Allah says, "As for the jinn, we created them earlier from smokeless fire."
Watch her drop the ball on this one too.
Earlier meaning before humans. So then I started thinking, well, there's no oxygen in outer space, and fire requires oxygen to exist.
What part of the Quran told you that jinn are made out of space?
Oxygen is only found on planet Earth. So I researched whether or not it was possible to have a fire without oxygen, and it is. Fire is nothing more than combustion, and in order for combustion to happen, there needs to be an oxidizer. So another oxidizer that you can use to create fire without oxygen is called fluoropolymers, okay? Those are only found on Earth.
Yeah, and jinn are not made in outer space, dumbass. Listen to this verse. The Quran even says that jinns once tried to ascend to heaven to take a peek or eavesdrop. Chapter 72, verse 8. We sought to reach the heaven but found it filled with mighty guards and burning flames. The jinns are trying to ascend to heaven to take a peek because jinn are on earth just like human beings. You see how you keep trying to tackle an argument Quran never made? You're trying to jump off the boat, you're not even hitting the water.
Fluoropolymers are considered anthropogenic substances, aka man-made substances. Oh, that's important because of the word earlier in the verse. As for the jinn, we created them earlier from smokeless fire, meaning before humans.
That is talking about the air that is on earth. Who placed the air on earth, dumbass? Did the humans create the air on earth?
And that means the earth was not inhabited by humans when Allah was creating the jinn.
We didn't have to be around. Allah isn't dependent on our creation. We are Allah's creation. La ilaha illallah, man.
So how was a smokeless fire entity created without the oxidizing elements such as oxygen, which exist solely on planet Earth?
Because they were created on earth. Which verse told you that jinns were created in the outer space? Where did you get that from?
I'm talking about this not to make a certain claim about the Quran, but rather to ask, why does the Quran pride itself on being a book of truth, of timeless truth, of perfection, of scientific accuracy, when this is only one example?
In this video, you've only proved your lack of cognition, and you have backed up my argument through and through on both counts regarding humans and regarding jinns. Listen, how about you just focus on your makeup and focus on your hair? You're not intelligent enough to explain these matters. You obviously don't have the cognition to do that, so instead of asking people who know, you end up trying to use what little bit of common sense you do have and end up jumping off the boat and not even hitting the water.